Welcome back. This is our new chicken coop. It replaced the cow panel chicken coop we did a video on, I think, a couple of years ago. The chickens, well, they grew out of it, and the coop we had in there, we just wanted to do some upgrades. And we also had a little bit of problem with the predators. We just had snakes, didn't have anything else. And I used a lot of the feedback I got from that chicken coop and that run to build this one. So what we're going to do this morning is do a nice little walk around, show you how it's built, what we use, and how it works. I can't really do any kind of cut list because we repurposed a lot of wood from a deck we tore down when we replaced it on our house. So while it wasn't necessarily cheaper than buying new in some cases, or the way I had to adapt it, I went ahead and used it anyway. That way I didn't have to throw it away. I didn't feel bad about it. So let's go ahead and walk around, and there's our chickens. We're going to be getting a few more. We've got about 8 more coming in the spring. It's sized for approximately 10 chickens. Actually, probably 12. 12 could probably comfortably fit in here. I wouldn't want to do any more than that. So just to kind of introduce you, on the right there, we have Marianne, the brown one. Then that nice gray one is Dorothy. Then we have Mr. Big in the back. And I always get Marshmallow and Betty White confused. They're the two white ones. I believe that's Betty White on the left and Marshmallow on the right. Believe it, those are our most prolific egg layers. They are still laying eggs, and this is just middle of December. And we get about 2 a day, one from each of them, just about every day. So we're going to I'll do a walk around on the side. So the board's going horizontally and vertically. Those are what we call 5/4 decking boards. I use those to cover the joints in the hardware cloth so that it make it harder for predators to pull it off the wall. And each row is a roll of 1/4-inch hardware cloth all the way up. And just use screws to affix it. And then if you'll notice across the top, I have hardware cloth looped around the top, and it goes about 1 foot or so in, and it's affixed also at where it joins to other pieces. And I used spare pieces of cloth that I had pulled off of the other stuff. And I believe we have, the sizing is 4 foot, 4 foot, and then 3 foot on the top. And I also covered it with some thin boards, and that keeps anything from getting in the inside there. So we come down here, and then we've got the actual coop. That's Mr. Big letting us know he's here and he's protecting everybody. So we have the coop here. I'm in a nice big door there, and I've got it up a little bit, and that's so that we can easily slide a wheelbarrow up underneath it to clean it out. Now we're going to go underneath here for a minute. And I've got these on, I believe they were 24 on center, and it's 3/4-inch plywood on the bottom there. It's a very sturdy board. I mean, a very sturdy floor. And the other thing is here, you can see underneath, I've got the 1/4-inch hardware cloth wrapped out about 1 foot to 1.5 foot all the way around, and it's covered with dirt. That'll also keep predators out. Now that floor is very sturdy. It's on 4x4s. They've got cement on the bottom there, about a bag a piece, not a huge amount, but we are in a fairly windy area, a lot of storms, and I wanted to make this thing really secure so that it would not blow away or anything like that. So let's take a look inside. So on the right there, we have our 4 chicken boxes, or nest boxes, excuse me. And those are, once again, 12 birds. Most of what I have learned is that you need about 1 box per 3 birds. Now the silkies, they don't use those. I think it's a little high. So I usually find up, well, I take that back actually. They have started using those. I haven't been finding their eggs in there, so those should be fine for them as well. Then over here we have our roosting bars, which I just set up. Now the silkies don't use them, probably because it's a little too high, but I've also seen it's pretty common for silkies just to bunch together on the floor, and that's what ours tend to do. Now what I've done is, this thing has a little screw, each side has a single screw, so when I'm cleaning, it just kind of lifts up. And I just hook it on that little piece of rope there, hanging from the ceiling, and it makes it really easy to sweep everything out. Now I also have the chicken wire in the corners there, in each corner, and then the top is ventilated. In the back and the front, the air can just kind of go through the what do they call those, soffits or something. They can just get out that way, and it also has some gaps there on the inside as well. So, and then I clean it out about once every 2 weeks. You'll notice the white stuff there, that's some diatomaceous earth to keep the bugs down. We're in a very moist environment, so the bugs, the cockroaches and stuff tend to get a little thick. And there's Miss Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy. Oh, and there's one of the silkies left us a present right there by the door, so I'll have to get that later. Oh, one other quick thing is when I put this in, went down to Lowe's and got a roll of sheet linoleum, and we glued it on the ends, around the perimeter. That makes for a very nice surface, so that if any moisture gets in there, which actually I haven't had a problem with moisture, but if any moisture gets in there, it tends to keep keeps it from rotting. And I've been very happy with the roof solution too. We've had a lot of rain in the last year, and we haven't had any. I had one leak right after I finished it, but I fixed that almost immediately. Let me close this so Dorothy doesn't try to get out. And here's the back part with the nesting boxes. Now I was a little more particular on this side to keep this really sealed up on the top there so nothing can get in. I won't say nothing, but it make it very difficult for things to get in. See a little gap there, but it's closed on inside. So we'll open up our nesting box. Oh, and there we go. One of the silkies left us a present there. So like I said, we got 2 eggs because those weren't there this morning. And then we've got our nesting boxes. I also did the same thing in the nesting boxes. I took the linoleum, or the sheet vinyl rather, and laid it on the bottom of each one of the boxes. I don't expect a lot of mess in these, but just in case, that'll protect the wood. And then we've got the top here is this nice little slant to keep the rainwater from getting in there. I don't have this perfectly sealed at the top here, but I haven't had any trouble at all with rainwater getting in there. And I think we've had some minor hurricanes come through as well in the last year, and no issues there. So now we'll go around to this side. And pretty much the same setup. Now, what I really want to do on this side, because we get a fair amount of erosion, I don't know if you can see the ditch there, from the rain, I want to run a rain gutter. But if you notice at the top there, we used white steel roof panels, and just use those, probably see them. They're rubberized nuts with little rubber washers, and those are used to keep it from leaking. I overlapped each one of them by at least 1 ridge, and I've got butyl tape that goes up the whole length to kind of keep it stuck together to kind of help seal that so nothing can get in there. I wasn't really worried about much in there, but I had some tape laying around I wasn't using, so I went ahead and used it anyway. So, and then the bottoms, because once again, like I said, we got a lot of, it's very humid here, we get a lot of rain, we get about 52 inches a year. I designed the bottom edge all the way around so that if I do have a board rot out, it is treated lumber, but if I do have a board rot out, I can take a couple of pieces of board off and just take that one piece out and replace it, and that way I don't have to worry about it. And that's why the 5/4 decking board's a little high. Now for the door, we just use standard hinges on the side there, And I use these twist, I don't know a technical name for them, but they just a twist lock. You see them on a lot of sheds and a lot of garages and stuff and that kind of things. And they work really well. I wanted to use those on the door to the coop, but my math was a little off and it was a little too deep. Because I think the maximum I could find was one of these that would work with a 6-inch depth, and that was about 7 or 8 inches. So now we're going to try to go in here and see if we can get those away. Now come on, scoot away. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Scoot. Okay. And we've got their little, I just put these in, they're little swings. And I haven't seen them use that a whole lot. But then we also have some roosting bars, which I've seen Mary Ann there use quite a bit. And then we got the waterer. This is probably the best setup I've seen, I've used so far. They got the little nipples, and I wasn't too keen on hanging it. And then I used the other kind of cups with the little lever action in them, and those tend to get gummed up and just were a mess. These new ones, they use the weight of the cup. Once the cup is full, it tilts downwards and plugs the hole, and as it empties, it lifts up. Those have been very reliable for me. And then we also have our feeders, which I repurposed from our cow panel coop, and they're using those great. I'm gonna add probably a couple more for when we add the new chickens, so we have plenty. Probably might even add some waterers there. And then over here we have our calcium and our grit, so they have that taken care of. And you can see where they're kind of digging in. And then of course we have our door, and I've set it up so that we can close it outside and just put a little knot in it. That way it doesn't get pulled up too high and pulled out of the slots. One thing I have found with it though is the silkies tend to bunch up right at the door, and I have to come in each night and kind of give them a little shove and get them pushed in. Let's go ahead. And then I've also got, they call these things a number of things, hurricane ties, but I pretty much strapped every one of the rafters down, because once again we get some heavy winds and we get a lot of heavy storms in this area, and I didn't want anything pulling the roof off. Now, just to kind of show you the wall construction, I use some ties here also. I don't know what these are called, but I've got these in here to hold 2x4s across, and then I mount you can see I'm actually missed a couple places with the screws, but I mount the 5/4s on the other side to that, and that's used kind of just as a bracing for that. And these 4x4s are also cemented in. So we'll kind of go back out. Excuse me, ladies. Excuse me. Have to be fast. And then we've got this nice little threshold right there with the bricks. Just take one more little walk around here. So that is the new chicken coop and run. We've had it about a year now. I built it last, well, I say the family built it. My daughter, my wife, and I all worked on it last September, and about a year ago. This is December of 2022, and it's held up really, really well. I've been really pleased with it. Haven't had to do any repairs on it to speak of. Like I said, I did have that one little leak inside the coop, and I just tightened up the screw, and that put that leak right away. Just have to be really careful with those screws and not put them too tight or too loose, else you have some problems. Well, that's about it. Hopefully we'll have a lot more videos coming soon. I've got a lot of great ideas to share, and now that my major projects are done, I have a little more time to shoot. You have a great day and a Merry Christmas.